How many of you would like to leave here today with some proven, easy to use, practical communication tips that will allow you to outperform, outsell, and outcommunicate your competition? Hands up if you're into that.
If your audience includes salespeople or business owners who want to discover how decision makers want you to sell to them, then Mike Schell is the speaker for you. With over 20 years of corporate sales experience, Mike is a dynamic and engaging presenter who regularly speaks at conferences and trade shows across North America. He's the author of 5 books, which are all based on interviews with corporate decision makers. Custom versions of his books are used by companies such as Guardian Life Insurance and U.S. Bank as gifts of knowledge for their small business clients. Mike's buyer-approved selling workshop is used by companies such as Canon USA to train their salespeople to out-communicate and outperform their competition. After all, who better to coach us on how to sell than the very people we sell to?
I want to thank you very much. Good luck as you out-communicate your competition and win the deal the buyer-approved way. Thank you very much. It is possible that the inventor of the telephone, his name might have been part of the company name, but I'm not sure. So he comes on in, and I let him have free rein because I'm curious, how do you handle a sales call? I'm a sales trainer. I want to see what's going on. I don't interrupt, and for the first 10 minutes, we're doing small talk. I think we're creating rapport. Rapport is everywhere. We're talking about the Canucks. It's wonderful, having a great time. Then all of a sudden, I could see he was shifting into business mode. And he looks at me and he goes, "So what do you guys do around here?" Oh. Right away, it hit me like a ton of bricks in the head. I didn't respect the fact that he didn't look up my website and read the little About Us section that said what we do around here. And I realized sitting on the buyer's side of the desk that that was something that really annoyed me. And I no longer liked him or wanted to give him my business. And I bought from his competitor real quick. So that's how that one went. So I want to say that this is one of those obvious things, but I, as a salesperson for over 20 years, never used to do this. We had all had our copiers on trial because we used to do the puppy dog close. Try it out for a week, no cost. Everybody did that. And finally, we're wrapping it up. It's my last kick at the can. And I asked the decision maker, I said, you know, I'm just curious. What do you look for? What qualities do you look for when you deal with a new salesperson that you might be doing business with ultimately? She sits back and goes, "Good question," and starts giving me this long answer. And I took some notes. And later on, I got the deal. And I always ask this question when I get a deal or not. If I don't get the deal, I go, as somebody who values feedback, can you tell me any reasons why we didn't earn your business? And sometimes they'll tell you, and sometimes they won't. When they do tell you, it can be very helpful. In this case, I said, I'm curious, as someone who values feedback, why did you select our company? She goes, well, Mike, you know, the copiers all performed admirably on their demos. We couldn't tell the difference. Everybody liked them all. They all seemed to make pretty good copies. You press a button and there's a copy. They all worked like that. No jams, nothing. So she goes, the difference that made the difference for me was you asked me that question about what do I look for in a salesperson. So I learned there and then that the power of effective questions can make or break a deal, can be the tiebreaker in many cases. So I just want to impress upon you the importance of crafting them in advance. And he comes to a meeting with me and at the time our marketing manager. And he brought his PowerPoint on his laptop, and it was filled with words everywhere. Bullet points and words, no graphics, no visuals. And I couldn't believe it. There was no double spacing, just like endless assault of words. And I had just taken this speed reading course, so he put the laptop up, and I'm like, wow. Read it all, and he's talking. He's still on the first bullet. It was painful. I tried not to roll my eyes, but there was a lot of tongue biting going on at the time. He finally finished his presentation. We let him leave as soon as possible. We never saw him again. Decision makers have told me that one question they really despise is, what's your budget for this? They hate that. And I can see why they do. Don't you as a potential buyer hate it when you're walking in a car lot or whatever it is, they're coming into your office and they go, what's your budget? Don't ever ask me that. And most buyers feel the same way, and why wouldn't they? It's like, oh, well, my budget is $120,000. Perfect, and the quote comes in for $120,000. What the buyers suggest, in fact, is that if you present enough of a reason for them to move forward, they're going to find a way to get the money. So the question is, are you consultative in the sense that you ask great questions, as mentioned earlier, that identify that the cost of not solving the problem, all those associated costs, are much greater than the cost of solving it. The cost of solving it, $200 a month. The cost of not solving it, lost productivity, lost revenue, lost opportunities, lack of continuity with clients, on and on it goes. And those costs could be so great that a person says, you know what, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming here. We have absolutely no budget for this, but we must and will find a way to get the money. And then all of a sudden the cafeteria no longer gives free coffee. Because oftentimes, think about this, you may do everything right, everything, all through every step of the sales process. And then you do one little thing like cutting down the competition, let's say. And people do that still today. You think maybe they don't, but they do. The buyers say they do. And then you lose the deal. But you don't ever get told you lose the deal because of that reason. But you've done everything right. Up to then, you were probably the preferred vendor of choice. And the way I do this is I'll write a couple of questions out that would focus on the strengths of my solution that my competition might not have available or might be struggling with. And I will type it up on a piece of paper, and just before I'm walking out the door, I go, you know, I put together a couple of questions that regardless of who you do business with, you should ask of any potential vendor to make the most informed decision possible. And this is just based upon my understanding the ins and outs of this industry, because that's what I do all day long. Leave them the questions, and then hopefully they ask the competition. In no way are we cutting the competition up. My name is Michael Schell, and one of my biggest passions in business is to interview the decision makers and extract their perspective and winning advice and share it with success-minded people like you, so that you may go out and out-communicate and outsell your competition. But if there is one message I have today, one impactful message, it is this. There is a vast difference, huge difference, between knowing what to do and actually doing it. So with that said, I urge you to think back today on some of the approaches that resonated with you, 1, 2, or 3 of them, whatever that may be, and make a commitment to make them habitual, so it becomes simply the way it's done around here. It becomes part of your personal branding, that you are that person who operates from the buyer's perspective. You will go out and sell and earn more business.